We begin, like we do each and every Monday, with a little game we like to call reaction or no action.
Okay.
Reaction or no action. Simple enough.
It's very simple.
We begin
I think I got it.
in the Pacific Northwest, where the Seattle Seahawks did it again, defeating the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football by the final score of 27-26. It was another Russell Wilson comeback special, but the talk today is on Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings, decision late in the game with about 2 minutes to go, 4th and 1 inside the Seattle 10, leading by 5. He decides to go for it to try to put the game away, doesn't get it. Wilson leads the Seahawks 94 yards down the field for the game-winning score. Did Zimmer make the right decision, reaction or no action?
So I don't know which one is more appropriate, whether it's reaction or no action. I guess for me it's no action because most people are reacting crazy. Why didn't he kick the field goal, Zimmer, you idiot? You gave Russ the opportunity to win the game. At best, he could have tied.
That might be what it sounds like.
I think that's silly. I like the move by Mike Zimmer. I think we're judging the result, not the process, and I'm a process-oriented guy.
Always.
Based on win probability, okay? By going for it, despite the result, despite the outcome, before we knew the result, whether they were getting stopped or made that first down, going for it equated to a 98% chance for the Vikings to win in regulation.
That's pretty good from what I remember in math class.
Kicking the field goal, about the same, 97.8% chance to win in regulation. So,
And they found a way to lose this game?
it was, exactly, well, that's a credit to Russell Wilson. That's a credit to Russell Wilson overcoming that math. And how good has Russ and the Seahawks been in these one-score games? Something that's seemingly not sustainable, but he keeps doing it. But I'm going to say that it should be no action because he chose mathematically the correct process. The result wasn't what we wanted, but he chose the correct process. I ask you, Brother Joe, you have a 98% chance of winning $1 million, or you have a 97.8% chance of winning $1 million. Which one are you choosing?
I would like the 98% chance.
Exactly. You're going to do that 100 times out of 100. So we like the process. We do not like the results because he came away despite a 98% chance to win a football game with 0 wins. And that's a credit to Russell Wilson, not to his decision-making. His decision-making was sound.
Take the math out of the equation. I'm with you on this because I just like the aggressive nature of trying to win the game. Ask yourself this: 1 yard on offense to win when you had already run for 200 yards against this defense, or put your lousy defense out there, which has been getting gashed all season, and go against Russell Wilson at the end of the game.
Exactly.
So I like the decision. It's similar to what I saw in the Red River Showdown this weekend. Tom Herman, go for 2 in overtime. Don't send your defense back out there against Oklahoma. Go for the win. Where I will say reaction for me is Mike Zimmer's decision earlier in the game. 7 minutes to go. They scored the touchdown to go up 5. He kicks the extra point. They went up 4. He kicks the extra point to go up 5. If he goes for 2 there like he should, he goes up 6.
Yep.
Later in the game in that scenario, he kicks the field goal.
Fair enough.
He's up 9. He wins the game. That was the mistake.
Agree.
But that's the end of that. Number 2 on the list. And this was probably the toughest piece of news to deal with, no matter who you're a fan of. Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. It feels like we're going to get one of these at least every year. A gruesome leg injury. Went to the hospital, had surgery last night. His season is done. The first thing you start with is the thoughts and prayers and condolences. You take fandom out of the equation for this one. It's just a terrible injury to a really good guy who was having a nice season.
Yeah, you feel for Dak because even though he's making $31.4 million this year, there's no guarantees for Dak Prescott as far as his income beyond 2020. So if something happens with his ankle and leg and he's not able to get back to the player he was, he's lost a lot of future income. But I do think Dak, who's persevered through a lot, will rebound, will come back, and hopefully he does get that contract from the Cowboys or somewhere else commensurate to his talent in the NFL because he's proven to be one of the best quarterbacks.
What does it do to the NFC East? Andy Dalton, former Cincinnati Bengal, will be stepping in, as he did yesterday, and he did win that game. He made a big throw late in the game. The Red Rifle.
No action. No action on the NFC East. I still think the Cowboys have the most talent in that division. Even if Andy Dalton's their quarterback, they should win it. Andy Dalton can get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, can get the ball to Amari Cooper, can turn around and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott. On that defensive side of the ball, DeMarcus Lawrence finally woke up. Alden Smith's been great. Maybe they get Leighton Vander Esch back and Jalen Smith starts to play better. The most talented team in the division is the Dallas Cowboys. So as brutal as the injury is for Dak Prescott, no action on me handicapping this division. I still think the Cowboys should win.
In a game in which survivor brackets were just absolutely destroyed, the Las Vegas Raiders shocked the world. They go into Kansas City, they upset the defending champions, and knock them from the ranks of the unbeaten. Your level of surprise that the Raiders pulled off that upset?
decently surprised, but I'm not going to overreact. So no action to a Week 5 loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. Guess what they did in Week 5 last year, Joe Fortenbaugh?
What's that?
They lost a football game in Week 5 of the 2019 NFL season.
They're cursed
They
in
then
Week 5.
went on to win the Super Bowl. So on any given Sunday, as they say, especially for a divisional rival, it was a bad loss. Don't get it twisted, but they're still 4-1. They still have a healthy Pat Mahomes as their quarterback. They should still be odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. So more so than look at, oh my gosh, what's wrong with Kansas City? Credit to John Gruden and the Raiders. I didn't think they'd win that game. They proved me wrong. They're now 3-2. Maybe they make the AFC West more a more interesting race. Maybe they qualify for one of 7 playoff spots in the AFC and do some damage in the postseason. So all it's done for me is maybe open my eyes to how dangerous the Raiders' offense can be, because Pat Mahomes in Kansas City still scored 32 points, but they lost the game because that defense didn't show up for Steve Spagnuolo, and Derek Carr and the Raiders scored 40. Is this an offense that is going to be explosive throughout the season, and can that help them win games?
Having Henry Ruggs back was a big help. He had the exact stat line you would expect when he was coming out as well. It's 2 catches, 1,000 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a huge day. Listen to what it took to beat the Chiefs. I think what happened yesterday is more of a – it's not a plus. I'm not going to sell it as, oh, this is great for Kansas City. This is what it takes to beat Kansas City. The Raiders had to go 50% on 3rd down, 2 for 2 on 4th down, score 40 points, roll up 490 total yards, have an insane 7.3 yards per play average, 35 minutes and 17 seconds time of possession, fewer penalties than Kansas City, fewer sacks allowed than Kansas City, 3 for 3 on trips to the red zone, only 1 turnover, only 1 punt.
So that's like 11
That's what it
things.
took to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the Chiefs still had an opportunity to
still
come
in the
back
game.
and tie it. One
It wasn't
possession
even a blowout.
with Pat Mahomes, 8 points that can disintegrate in an instant. So yes, I think this is just any given Sunday that something happened for the Chiefs. Credit again to the Raiders for
No doubt.
playing maybe their best game of the year.